So Matt Vigh, welcome back for episode 2.
Love it. Appreciate it. Super grateful.
Yeah, I'm excited to. Obviously, we've had a ton of conversations on real estate and with our backgrounds and your background, and so I'm excited to kind of just do it again and see where it goes. So for the people that are listening, just kind of go over your start in real estate and how you got into that and your career and just so they can understand like how much knowledge you have around that.
Yeah. So got into real estate in the late '90s. Bought a company, owned it, sold it to a really big company, and then worked there for about 10 years, and then came to be closer to family in Tampa, and you know came to work for another big company, and ran an office that ended up being the top office in that franchise group on the top 25 company. It's a big deal, and so just loved doing it, loved being around people, and then just kind of evolved to who I wanted my audience to be as far as what I wanted to contribute and who I wanted to help, and that's how I kind of ended up where I am.
Mm-hmm. And so now you are coaching and helping educate brokers kind of across the country in doing what you've done the last 25 years.
Right. Yeah. Just the word coaching, right? So it's accurate,
Yeah.
but it's like the word prospecting, right?
Yeah.
A lot of times when you talk to people about coaching, they've got this preconceived notion that it's me saying, all right, let's be on our 2:00 call. And did you make your phone calls? And, here's the 2 things that you need to know and work on this. And I'll see you next week for a call. Right. It's that's how a lot of people look at coaching. Right. Man, I can't tell you that's how far that is from what we do. But it's not consulting either. Right. And so, it is, it's about helping people grow. So you can absolutely call it coaching, but it just doesn't fall into that same category. I think that the business world is evolving beyond that, hopefully, of what coaching used to be, because there's a lot of, we've got a podcast that's pretty well listened to, and I'd be willing to bet that we give out a lot on that podcast. That's a lot more than a lot of what people do what people offer from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah.
Right. And that's not just us. There's a lot of great people giving out a lot of great information. It's just so easy to get that information now. Now what we do is we put people in a position where they can collaborate with others that are going through what they go through. And there is an element of accountability to it, but it really is about just taking responsibility for your own growth is what it's really about. But that's hard to say in a couple of words.
Yeah.
So yeah, we coach people.
So as coaching is coaching in like the business sense or the business world, or like a personal development coach, is that something that's new and becoming more of a more desirable, more popular thing to use than it has 20 years ago?
Yeah, it is. And there's a lot of people in the space. Dr. Ben and I kind of jokingly call some people gurus instead of gurus. And they had a little bit of success on one little thing, and the next thing they're an expert on everything.
I like that.
And Chat GPT hasn't helped that, right?
Right. Yeah.
And it hasn't hurt it. It's not Chat GPT's fault. Let's don't blame AI. But it's helped cover some of those things. And so there's a lot of people in that space right now, because a lot of people have been told you don't have to do anything in order to be in that space. You just had to have a certain amount of success. I'd love it as long as people give full disclosure on what it is that they're offering. I think it's fantastic. But to say that you're an expert on something, or a guru or a coach or whatever, just because you succeeded in one part of things, man, it's really not fair to the person that's especially if they're paying you to say that, for you not to really understand collectively what it is that you're promising that you can deliver.
Yeah, and big picture too of like whatever industry that you're coaching in. I think that's one thing that's all I kind of, and I've talked to Ben about this before, but like in real estate, like in order to like for me personally, like in order like to take that next step like out of being a realtor and selling real estate and helping others do that, like I feel like I have to have like a certain level of success and prove it to myself before I can do something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a very real thing called imposter syndrome, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's whenever someone, is scared to contribute because they're afraid that they're not really complete enough in order to contribute
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
Right. And I know it's super real because, of course I had it, right? I
Mm-hmm.
was like, hey, is this really the space that I want to be in? Do I really know enough about this? And then I started, just kind of compiling how we would do the things that we would do. And yeah, it was pretty apparent that there was a decent amount that we could contribute to other people that were trying to grow their company from a
Yeah.
recruiting, retention, and per agent
Yeah.
productivity standpoint.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
So in your previous episode, we talked more about like business and
Mm-hmm.
what you're doing with Brokerpreneur podcast and coaching and stuff. I want to dive into more of like the real estate side
Yeah, let's
of
do it.
this. So let's start with market shifts, right? Like
Yep.
you've been through a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of gone through, we're in the middle of one right now, right? So
Yep.
kind of going through it and learning as we go along. But
Yep.
what happens during the market shift? What are some trends, like maybe from a real estate agent's perspective, and then also like a public perspective?
Yeah. Yeah. So the real estate agent perspective and the public's perspective do not believe that they are at the same pace or at the same on the same page, because they're not. The public's perception of what's going on is not the same as the agent's perception as what's going on. Okay. And I know that's not what you're trying to say. That's more me talking to the audience. If
Yeah.
there's real estate agents listening to it,
Yep.
please understand the public does not know the same things that you know. Okay. They're not going through the same things you're going through.
Yeah.
It is different. You are seeing this from a different perspective. Your job is to help them understand that perspective.
Yep.
That way they can make informed decisions about that. Okay. So yeah, my name's Matt. I've been through a market shift. Right? I'm going to stand up and say it. A couple of them,
Yeah.
right? And the truth is, we talk about this all the time. The market is always shifting.
Right.
So it's not standing there stagnant, right? There's always something going on. And so, in what we do, we get to talk to a lot of brokers and real estate agents. We've got a Thursday mastermind that is geared towards real estate agents every Thursday at 12 o'clock. Absolutely free. Agents can jump in there and talk and learn and share and collaborate and all that, right? Well, part of what we talk to them about is what's going on with the market, but more importantly, how do you share that message about what's going on in the market? More importantly, how do you get that to the people that you really want to help? Because if you're, we're really big on relationship-based sales, right? And so if you want to have a good relationship with the people that are the people that you're serving through your database and your sphere of influence, whatever, it starts with trust.
Mm-hmm.
And they have to know that you know what's going on with the market. They have to know that you understand what it is that is going to impact them and their financial situation based on whether they're buying or selling houses.
Mm-hmm.
And so they got to be able to trust you. And so to us, that's a big point to get everybody together and talk about that. And, the agents come on Thursdays, like we said, and they share it. The important part is, if you're an agent and you're sitting in that, talking to it, and everybody from around the country is talking about, what it is that they see that's going on in the market, man, as soon as you get done with that call, we tell them, go to social media, reach out on social media and say, hey, I was just on a mastermind. Somebody from California was talking about this, and somebody from Maine was talking about this, and somebody from Florida was talking about this. If you're not sure how that impacts what you're doing, reach out to me and let me know.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you something very real, very relevant, that allows you to share with your customers, that builds that trust, because you're trying to help yourself grow by being in an environment that allows you to not just understand that houses are selling and put a sign out front, but helps you understand that you're in a business that should be engaging people to help them at a different level.
Mm-hmm. And then you come off as the expert, right? Because you're
Absolutely.
gathering knowledge from so many other people and sources and everything, and then it builds that trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You're building yourself and you're sharing it with other people.
Yep.
That kind of goes back to that Nuru thing we were talking about. If you haven't built yourself, what are you sharing with other people again?
Mm-hmm.
You can share being you. I'm not saying don't share being you.
That journey, right?
Right. That journey. I love that.
Yep.
But make sure that what you're sharing with other people is based on what you have grown yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And people like that. People want to be part of that. They like being part of that journey with you. They like sharing that, and good people will tell other people to work with you simply because of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. So let's talk about interest rates, and
Yep.
I want to specifically ask you about one thing I've kind of mentioned, on my social media platforms a few different times is, because interest rates have increased, drastically, since, kind of the COVID times or whatever, right? So we're up around 7% right now. The media, right? They're harping on the interest rates, the interest rate, the interest rate. At the end of the day, the interest rate doesn't affect, the consumer, right? They're buying the property based on like what they can afford on that mortgage payment.
Correct.
So why is it, how do we transition the focus to be off of interest rates and like that mortgage payment? Like how much can we afford?
Yeah. So everything is relative. Okay. So if somebody told me, yeah, I'm really worried about the interest rate, I'd say, oh, so you don't have any credit cards? Because what's the interest rate on your credit card?
Yeah,
I love it if you got 0%, right? But if you missed half a month's payment 12 months ago, you've got 27.94% or whatever it is, right? You got some ridiculous interest rate on there.
Yeah.
That's always outpacing on the house. And the difference is that is on borrowed money, that is on debt, and people are accepting of that, but they're not accepting of something that's going to build equity at the pace that a home is. Come on, man.
Yeah.
That is a matter of them not understanding completely what is going on. Because if somebody said, oh yeah, well, interest rates are too high for me to buy right now, the simple way to handle that is property values are still going up, especially where we are, Palm Harbor, rock on, baby. Right. So interest rates are at where they are, but values are still increasing.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable with a credit card at 27%, which is money you've already spent, how are you not comfortable with a house at 7% that is going to increase and make you money at the same time you're paying it down? If you talk to people, you know how I am, right? I'm just super direct. I say, because most of my audience can appreciate my directness.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. An agent can't be that direct talking to the public.
Yep.
You're not going to go on social media and say it quite like that.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to soften it a little bit. But the point is, it's all relative.
Yeah.
Take a look around. Are you in a place that property values are appreciating? Fantastic. That 7%, yes, you're paying more than you would at 5% or 4% or 3% or whatever it is, right? Yes, you're paying more at that, but properties are still appreciating. Real estate is still a good investment. It's still something that is, especially with a lot of the purchasing that's going on with iBuyers and L buyers and all that kind of stuff. All of that is all impacting how many people own homes,
right?
And how many people are going to be renting. Now is an extremely good time to be purchasing a house, but you have to understand how to explain it to people to make them see that it is all relative. And what they're willing to do is being conditioned maybe by other people that are acting like it's not a good idea because the people are giving information. It's the media, not journalists talking. There's a big difference between media and the journalist.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that's it's just education, right? And that's our role as realtors is to help educate the consumers and the 100%. People that we work with. So
if you care about them, educate them. Right. You would not educate your kids, right?
No. Yeah.
You want them educated.
Yeah, of course.
Why would you have people in your sphere of influence that you say you care about, that you want to help them with such a big purchase, and not educate them?
Yeah. Yep. And there's gonna be some of them that absorb it and have that aha moment, and some of them don't, and that's just part of it, right? But what about the entry into real estate? Something I've thought about a lot, right? So getting your license, and we touched on this before, but there's not a lot of education around running a successful real estate business.
Right.
Has education changed? Like getting your license, is it gotten any better? Do you see it?
I think it's changed. Not because
like pre-license, so that okay.
Yeah. So pre-license is basically, and we've talked about this before. Getting your real estate license, it's just about testing you on the objective things that they can test you on.
Yeah.
The subjective things are what makes you money. The subjective things are business, right? And so they have a hard time testing you on those things because there's not a right or wrong answer in that situation.
Sure.
On
True.
objective things, there's a right and wrong answer.
True.
Are
Yeah.
you following state law? Did you do something stupid and illegal? Are you going to real estate jail?
Yeah.
Right? That is objective.
Yeah.
Subjective is, did you buy leads from Facebook or did you cultivate leads from your social media yourself? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a difference, right? It's the same but different.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there's more education out there, but that's only because there's so much more education out there.
Yeah.
So it's not just like it's real estate, right?
Yep.
So somebody can go to YouTube and learn a tremendous amount about whatever they want to learn a tremendous amount about.
Mm-hmm.
And so this allows people to be as good at business as they want to be. There's not a shortage of how to be great
Mm-hmm.
in business that is really good information on YouTube. Now there's crap out there. You got to have your filter on, but there's good information out there about it. Right. And so, your question was, has it changed? Has it evolved? Has it gotten better? I think it has gotten better because the people that want the education, they now really have a place where they can go get it. It's not their brokerage. I'd love for it to be their brokerage,
Mm-hmm.
and their brokerage is going to help them with objective things.
Yeah.
But the subjective things, that's where it's a little bit different. That's where you have to go find specifically what is ailing you and go get the solution of what's ailing you based on what you need to take your business to that next step.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a big umbrella that helps you out, but there's going to be small pieces that keep you warm while the rain's not going down your back.
Yeah. And that makes sense, right? Like that's any business that you get into,
Yep.
right? It's kind of the same thing. Like there's not like here's how to start a business in this field. So
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
80% of business is the same. It's just different. 20% trade to trade.
Yeah. Do you see the brokerages evolving at all in helping agents, on the business side, or are they more focused on like what they've been focused on?
Yeah. So saying brokerages is a broad brush, right? Some brokerages have done this really well for a long time. It's a small minority of them. Okay. And then some agents have done it really well themselves and went out and found it themselves. Again, that's a small, medium-sized, minority or majority of them.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as collectively the brokerage industry as a whole, no, they haven't, right? And the reason why they haven't is because they just can't. There's a lot of other things. They are running a business at the same time.
Right.
What you're basically saying is, hey, can you run your business while you're teaching me how to run my business?
Mm-hmm.
And then you start talking to the person and they walk off into the sunset and somebody else says, hey, can you teach me how to run my business? Right. Okay.
I'm good.
That's right. Weren't you just the other person? Right? So that makes it difficult. Right.
Yeah.
And they're independent contractors. So you can talk to them about it, but you can't tell them what they need to do. Okay. That makes it difficult. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of things that make it hard on the broker. Now, with that being said, my opinion, the broker should offer it. Let everyone who wants to. So a great example, and this kind of applies to what we were talking about a little bit earlier too, right? A rescue swimmer gets in the water and goes to the person that's closest to them.
Mm-hmm.
They do not swim past somebody to go get somebody else,
mm-hmm.
right? Because they swim past somebody and something goes wrong and then they lose everybody.
Yeah.
So they go to the one that's willing to have help, or that they're fortunate enough that they're the close enough to, right? Being a real estate broker is the same way, right? Don't think that you have to run out and help everyone and go try to help the people that want the least amount of help and try to bring them to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead and help the ones that are right there that really want to do that. So if you're a real estate broker, that's how to look at it. If you're a real estate agent, look at it the same way, but just think about it from an investor standpoint. I've got a funny text. I showed Dr. Ben this morning. I get a phone call yesterday. I get one, maybe two a week of this. Okay. It's a real estate investor saying, hey, if you come across a property that's an off-market property, right? Do you get these?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I just spoke to one yesterday.
That's right. And so, I appreciate it. Right. I love the call. You know me though, right? I'm going to kind of critique it a little bit, and I'm going to tell them what they're doing wrong. Because if they want to be more effective, they'll listen. If not, whatever. I had fun, pointing out what you screwed up. So he calls and said, gives his spiel and everything. And I said, if I come across something, do that. I said, but you mind if I ask you a question? He goes, no, go ahead. And I said, so do you want me to send these properties to you, or should I send it to you and all the other people that have asked? And of course, what did he say?
To me.
Send it to me.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, okay. I said, yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I said, I gotta get on a call, but just text me your information and whatever.
Yeah.
And so he texts me his information, right? And I'll tell you exactly what I said because it's pretty funny. And I've got a point behind all this. Okay,
yeah.
So bear with me.
Bear with us. Yeah. And if you don't know Matt likes to tell stories. So,
yeah, everything's a damn story to me. So, I'm from Georgia. So he says, hey, thanks, Matt, for taking your time. Here's the best email. Please keep me in mind of any off-market properties you come across. I pay all cash, can close as quickly as your sellers would like, and love to work together, right? Literally get the same text every time.
That
right?
same exact text.
Yeah, they all go to the same class.
Yeah.
I said, so what is it that you offer that's a benefit to me of why I should send the property to you instead of the other 10 investors that reached out to me, right? Because so in this situation, if this guy would have said, you know what, that's a great question, I'm not sure, what do you think? Man, I would have covered this dude up with I would have helped. I would have done everything I could to help him, to be completely honest, right? Yep. Because at that point, he's somebody that wants to grow. I'm not going to stop somebody from growing. I want to be part of that. But he responds back, a higher finder fee with a little money bag. Okay. And so, me, I couldn't let that go. Right. So yesterday, right after that, I said, if I bring you a property before it goes to the open market, that's not a finder's fee. I'm a real estate professional. It's my commission. I'm a real estate professional. That is a commission because I'm doing my job. I said, and what is higher, by the way? Question mark. Right. Because he didn't even answer that.
Yeah.
Hasn't responded. Okay. So this morning, I send him a picture with 3 little crickets.
Silence.
And my point on that is, have fun with sales. Part of it, right? But I want to help. If that dude would have come back and would have said, man, I sound like every other investor, I want to stand out. How do I stand out? I could have told him things that would have helped him stand out.
Yeah.
Right. I would have said things like when you call me, why don't you offer me the opportunity to do some open houses while you're flipping your property? That's a benefit to me.
Yeah.
Right. So the people that come on your house on 123 Main Street that they don't buy, tell me that you're going to keep me in the loop on those people. And if they don't buy 123 Main Street, you're going to let me know because I might have something else that's coming up for them. Yeah. Tell me that there's something other than you're going to pay me for doing my job, which I get from anybody that I do my job with the right way. Right. Absolutely could have helped him. And I promise that I could have helped him shape a conversation that he would have come across better to other real estate agencies calling. He would do more business if he would just slow down and honestly answer.
Yeah. But for them, it's
numbers.
Yeah. Transaction.
Yep. It's all transactional.
Yep.
And I get that. And rock on. I love that. Okay. But he's gonna at some point, he's gonna respond back to me because I'm on his tickler. Yeah. To reach back out to. Yeah. And I'll give it a day, and then I'm going to send him 3 crickets. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Just because I want the relationship. And man, the people that want the relationship, man, I'm willing to do whatever I can do.
Yeah. And I think that's the difference is just it's having that open communication and being, willing and able and wanting to learn.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. I like that.
Growing. Yeah. Growing and sharing it with other people.
Yep. So what's something like if somebody's looking to get into real estate, or they're looking to make that leap into being a broker, maybe they are a real estate agent. What are a tip or a piece of advice you have for them, to kind of set their mindset in the right place? Yeah.
So it's mindset and it's skill set. Every day, check your motivation and momentum. Every day, just take a look at it. Yeah. So we do it with our clients, and we do it with the people that we come in contact with. We always ask everybody, what's, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being the highest, tell me about your motivation and momentum. And motivation is mindset. Momentum is skill set. Are you executing? Right. And so many times, we'll have people go, oh man, my motivation is high. I really need to whatever, but man, I've had a rough day, week, month, whatever. And so my momentum is here. Imagine that everybody that you're around, that you're connected with, if you could quickly get that in from all your staff, all the whoever you're dealing with, if you could just quickly get that understanding of where they all are. Somebody that's having a bad day, man, you go in and ask them, hey, can I get this, or is that done, or is whatever, and all that kind of stuff. And you don't know what kind of day they're at.
Yeah.
Right. And checking in with everybody and saying, hey, let's, tell me where your motivation and momentum is an important thing. So you can kind of grade or figure out what the next part of your conversation needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, man, that starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
Check your own motivation and momentum on a regular basis. Write it down on a Post-it. You know how big I am on Post-its. Write it down in a Post-it every day and see how it's trending. I mean, I would start with that from just a basic, simple, easy to do thing. Absolutely that.
That reminds me, like Rob Dyrdek, I've listened to a bunch of his stuff, and he's big on like the personal development and tracking all that stuff. And one of the things he does is, I think it's at the end of the day, he checks in like, how did I feel today? How did I feel about today, or something like that? And he rates it like 1 to 10, and then he's able to go back and look back and like what triggered that, like why was today a bad day, So it's like, man, that's such a vibe. Like being able to check in with yourself, take 5 minutes to check in with yourself and do that is it's a great life hack.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, take along that line, if you truly check in with yourself, my motivation is a 5, but my momentum is a 2. Don't you know what to work on then?
Yeah. Right.
Right. And then at the end of the day, you go back and you go, man, my motivation is still high, but my momentum is still a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Did you not work on what you needed to work on? What got you off track? What got you to a place where the day you started with is the day you ended with, right? Because it's that day's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. You invested in something.
Yeah.
So that gives you that chance to be able to do that. So absolutely, I would start with that. And then the other thing is, agents need to understand the tools and systems, or a broker that's starting a brokerage, the tools and systems that you use matter, right? So, I love Calendly. Canva's probably my favorite. Gotta have a CRM. Have to have some way of being on social media consistently that is authentically you. All of those things, regardless of the business you're in, all of those things are a must.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. So you like stories.
I do.
And I want to ask you, what is the, I don't know if I want to say worst real estate story, but like just a terrible, maybe a bad experience you had in real estate, or one of your agents had in real estate.
There's been some bad ones. Yeah. Right. So, there's been truly life bad things. Right. There's been that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then there's been things that have gone wrong and all that kind of thing. And then there's been lawsuits and all that. Right. For most of my career, the most that I talked to my agents is when something went wrong. Right. When things were going right, they really didn't want to talk to me. Right. There's just keep doing what you're doing and keep rolling. Right. There's all of that. But as far as me, and one that sticks with me, that it bothered me. I had, and this is not the one. I'll tell you the one in just a second, but just to put it all in perspective, I met like an 85-year-old couple that the husband drove out to move somewhere close where he could be near the water. They were kind of end of life, and he came out. He had sold his house. The packers were like, in 4 days, the packers were going to be packing his house. He drove out to where we were because as a kid, he remembers being there. Wanted to be on that type of water, comes out and went into a couple of other real estate offices, and everybody was trying to set an appointment the next day to help him and all that. Nobody listened to the dude. And, we sat down and listened to him, and, he was basically like, hey, my wife, is back home 7 hours away. I have to drive back either tonight or tomorrow morning to be back. I need to see some houses. I saw this one in a real estate book. I'd like to see that one if it's available. I mean, this is an old guy, right? Yeah. And he's talking about serious things. So we sit down and talk, and I said, the first thing I said, you want to go get something to eat? And he's like, I'm starving. And so we go and get something to eat, and he tells me more about, who he is and all that kind of stuff. And then he realizes he doesn't have his clothes. He left his suitcase at home.
Oh man.
So I take him to Walmart.
Yeah.
And so he wants to buy some clothes. He buys some clothes at Walmart. We look at some houses. He's going to come back after they pack the truck with his wife, and they're going to look at a house that's not in my town, but in like 40 minutes away town, because a friend of mine had something that was more in the price point that he wanted. And so she sent him a bunch of information. Long story short, I did not end up getting the sale, but I drove him back 7 hours to take him to his house because he was exhausted. Get him there.
Wow.
The people pack up. He and his wife get back in the car, and we drive back. Now, I would kill my agent for doing that.
Yeah.
Okay? Understand, I would kill my agent
14
for doing
hours,
that.
yeah.
Right? Oh, with that being said, they were just in over their depth.
Yeah.
The house was sold, right? They had no family to speak of. There was a son that was in jail, but for the most part, they were just on their own. And so they ended up buying something, 40 minutes away or something like that. I think I got a referral fee off of it. So there's a lot that's happened in real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, but I would not consider that a bad story. I'd consider that a great story.
For sure.
Because of how it worked out. But as far as a bad story, bad one that happened, I had two preachers. Okay. One was the nicest. He was just retired from the military, was going to be preaching at a small church on one of the little barrier islands. I'm from Georgia. I mentioned that, Georgia.
Like
where the Bulldogs are from.
Yeah. Go Gators. Go Gators.
from the barrier islands, right? He was going to be on one of the little churches on those. Nicest guy you'd ever met. Just an incredible guy. The preacher that we were buying from was an absolute dirtbag. And so but they were both preachers.
Yeah.
Right. And so it was a for sale by owner. They saw it. A friend of theirs heard about it. They wanted to see it. I show up. The guy doesn't want to do a property disclosure statement. Doesn't know why I'm involved. Doesn't this, doesn't that. I'm like, look, you're not paying me anything.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid from these folks, these buyers. They like your house. They like the fact that you're a pastor and you're buying it. And we battled the entire way through the whole transaction. Yeah. At one point, I was like, I think this is a bad idea. And the buyer that I was working with was like, we love the house. I'm like, it's a long way away. There's blah, 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 filling the butt, right? All these reasons why, all these warning signs. And they're like, no, we're just moved to buy this house. And I'm like, okay. Like 2 weeks after they move in, a yard well collapses, and the well people come out, and they're talking to the guy, and they were like, oh yeah, the other guy that, had this house, we talked to him a month ago, told him this well was about to collapse. And he wanted us to just, he told us to do whatever we could to Band-Aid it.
Yeah.
So they put a bigger pump on the well. So it was pulling more water out whenever it was just to right. And so, we go through all that, and then the wife is in the shower, and carpenter ants start falling through the light on her in the shower. Just absolute disastrous situation. And so, I reach out to the other guy, and I'm like, hey, look, there's some things clearly that are not whatever. And he's like, yeah, you can talk to my attorney.
Oh my.
Yeah. And so that to me was, that was somebody hiding behind something to, that the other people were relying on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that broke my heart. I didn't really care for that. They were really, really good people. I liked them a lot. Stayed very much in touch with them. The other people, that sold the house, I was just, I was like, man, you're why people, right, don't like real estate.
Right. It's crazy. Like, real estate makes people do some crazy things, you know. Yeah. Like, you can go to every single realtor, and they all have
absolutely
a difficult story. It's something, similar in that capacity that's happened to them. But on top of it too, there's a lot of great stories that happen too, like you mentioned too. Yeah. So cool. Well, thanks for being here. Thanks for doing this again.
I love it. I appreciate it. Thanks for the chance.
Yep. I got to ask you one more question before.
Bring it.
Palm Harbor. You live in Palm Harbor. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite spot in Palm Harbor?
Oh, so we're right across from John Chestnut.
Ooh, yeah.
So we're right across the street from that. I like that. But my wife and I wouldn't consider us foodies. We're more like drinkies.
Okay.
we love to just go sit at the bar, order the special, have one drink, talk to whoever is around us, and
Yeah.
and you know, just call it a night. We love that.
Yeah.
And so Palm Harbor has so many places to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so many cool places to eat and so many cool venues to eat in, because you know, we don't want to go in something that looks the exact same. I mean, it's
Right.
going to sound bad, but it's not really about the food. I mean, it can't be bad food, but it's not really about the food. It's about the atmosphere. It's about the environment. It's about being able to just take a breath and relax and be somewhere with other people that are enjoying being with, you know,
Mm-hmm.
being around and with people. And there's a lot of that in Palm Harbor.
Mm-hmm.
Palm Harbor is an incredible place for that, right? Anybody that's, you know, trying to find that should take a serious look at, they should call you and
Yeah.
take a serious look at Palm Harbor for sure.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a great community, like
Mhm.
the people and stuff, like you mentioned, like going out and just being able to talk to people and
Yeah.
and stuff. It's really cool. So, good stuff.
Yeah. Appreciate it. Thanks again for the opportunity.
Yep.